It's time for the Hockey Writers Grindline, a weekly show covering everything Detroit Red Wings. Brought to you by our own iconic top line of Wings writers. Sit back and enjoy The Grind.
My name is Patrick Brown, and this is the Hockey Writers Grindline, the Red Wings roundtable for the hockey writers. For the last 5 years, the Grindline's been a weekly column for the hockey writers, and now we're coming to you in person. That's right, you can now put a face to the name before you scroll down to comment on our articles. We're excited for another opportunity to discuss the latest Red Wings news, rumors, and strategy with the Hockeytown faithful. You'll notice we are off the penalty. Right. Despite the fact that Tony is trotting out to be Bernier's fill-in, get well soon, Jonathan, we have a full crew today. Everyone, please welcome the newest member of the Hockey Writers Grindline, Kyle Knopp. Kyle, welcome to the team. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Excited to be here.
We are happy to have you. Kyle is the newest member of our coverage team. And he's taking kind of a Steve Yzerman route. We'll talk about that in a minute, following in some fantastic footsteps. But hate to be the bearer of no pressure. Nope.
Not at all.
The bearer of bad news or somber news. But need to say we're bringing Kyle in because, unfortunately, this will be Ian McNaughton's last show with us. Ian, why are you leaving us, buddy?
Because you said we were meeting people in person, and I don't know how close in person is. Like 6 feet, sure, but like any shorter than that, and I'm gonna pass on that.
That would be a Richie Sexton arm length is what we're doing there.
Also, I was trying to like figure out the comparison for like Kyle coming from the Bolts to the Red Wings, and I kept coming back to Yzerman. I couldn't think of anybody else. So it's definitely Yzerman. And really me leaving. It's like a TV show because what are we on now? Our 15th episode, I think.
15th episode.
15th episode, and it's really, you have to kill off one of the main characters for plot development. That's kind of what's happening here. Is just like, I mean,
that's a great way to look at it, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, just for plot development. That's really all it is. No, like.
Well, that means we only have 85 episodes left till we're syndicated, so that's good.
It's doable.
And it is doable, but you're leaving us, Ian. You're leaving us, but we're gonna have one heck of a last show with you here. And last but certainly not least, my good friend Devin Little. How you doing? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to all of you. It sounds like we're going down the Game of Thrones route. We're killing off characters, so I'm excited about that. And then also to the Yzerman point, the only other thing I can think of from Tampa to Detroit would be Luke Witkowski. So. There you go. Kyle's got the beard. That
grits.
Yeah, grits.
Is he gritty? Gritty.
You're really diving deep.
He can play defense and forward. So
that's true.
Versatility.
I like you with the Game of Thrones route. I was thinking more Walking Dead, but I think I'm more. I really like the Game of Thrones route. That's what we're gonna go, so we know we don't have zombies chasing us.
Just White Walkers.
Well. Yeah. Cat is out of the bag, gentlemen. Kyle, welcome to the team. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. You're going to start putting out Red Wings pieces. So why don't you just really quick, little new guy hazing here. What have you been up to? What have you been doing for the hockey writers? What brings you to the Red Wings crew?
Yeah, absolutely. I joined the hockey writers at the end of November this past year. Right before the season started, and joined on with the Tampa Bay team and just kind of took it in stride and wanted to write about them. It was an opportunity I couldn't pass up at the time, and just absolutely loved the hockey writers team since joining. And so, being from Michigan, being a Red Wing fan my whole life, I worked with them as an intern. I'm just excited to get back and be, wearing the winged wheel once again. So thanks for having me.
Well, we're excited to have you on, doing this every week, and just give everybody at home an idea. Where are you located? Because we know we've got a desert dweller, we've got a Michigander, we've got a Pacific Northwest. Where are you located at?
Yeah, so I'm in Columbia, Maryland, right between Baltimore and DC. I lived in Detroit for 2 years up until 2018 before moving out here. And so, like the area, it's growing out here. The Caps win in 18 was really huge. It's really kind of helped explode hockey in this area. And so it's nice to see it grow. But, I miss Michigan winters and having, frozen ponds every 5 feet down the road and being able to go skate outdoors whenever I can. But I'm enjoying it out here as much as possible.
Tony's
Anytime
from the
I'm
DC
in
area too.
Yeah. Tony's not too far. So I think once this all gets together, and we're back to being able to be in person, we're going to go watch some games in person together. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Not too much longer, hopefully.
Awesome. And anytime that I'm in Maryland, I always make sure I have to pick up some of those Utz crab flavored potato chips. They are amazing, and I always have to get them when I'm passing through Maryland. So welcome to the team. We're excited to have you and looking forward to the shows to come. So, all right, well, let's jump right in. So, guys, we have some fun stuff to talk about today because for the first time since I think ever that we've been doing this show, we've won 2 games in a row. So we haven't really seen that a whole lot this year. But as I said on Twitter, one more, and that's called a winning streak. It has happened before. And it's been fun. It's been downright fun to watch hockey. So, Ian, let's start with you. Your takeaway from the last 2 games against Dallas and Carolina.
I mean, it's great to see just because of the fact that we're beating quality teams. We have points in 4 of our last 5 games, and that's going back to beating Tampa Bay last Thursday. The team just looks more complete. It feels like there's now momentum within the team and within the locker room, which is great. You love to see it. And hopefully, there's a stretch of teams coming up, which are, I'd say, fairly beatable, teams with below 500 points percentage. Hopefully the Red Wings can snag some points against all those teams.
Well said. Well said. Devin, your thoughts?
So it's a fun time to watch the Red Wings. They're doing well against the Carolinas, the Tampa Bays, and the Dallases, who all of them are no schlubs. So like if this team is doing well against them, you have to love and appreciate it. You're getting good goaltending, whether it's Bernier or Grice. Bernier specifically, though, hope he gets back soon. And Larkin and Fabry have been absolute dynamite together. Fabry in particular has just been killing it. So yeah, it's like I said, it's just a fun time to watch some Hockey Town hockey.
Absolutely. Let's bring it full circle. Take it around the horn. Kyle, your takeaways from the past couple of games.
Yeah, I think the Red Wings have looked really good, the last couple of games. They've been more of a complete team. They're not quite a 60-minute team, quite there yet, but they are playing a more complete game. They're showing that confidence. They're showing that swagger that's been kind of missing the past year, 2 years or so. And it's just really nice to see them. You're getting the young guys that are just showing that confidence. They're, creating space, creating opportunities at all times. Fabry shooting the puck more, which you like to see. And it's been a lot of fun to watch them.
Yeah, I think all 3 of you kind of touched on it. To be honest, I got a text from my friend Colin today, and he mentioned really the last 10 days to 2 weeks of hockey have been fun to watch. It's been a lot of fun to watch the Red Wings play, and that's not something that we have felt a whole lot. I think they have more energy. You're seeing the kids accomplish a lot, and then ultimately the power play is performing better. That's where you really see the difference in those close games and those 1-goal games is whose special teams are performing. And frankly, the Wings in their last 9 or 10 games have about a 28% power play clip that they're coming in at, far better than what we've seen at all the rest of the season. So let's talk about that. Let's shift gears to the power play. We talked earlier this year about how much it's struggled, and now it seems to be just absolutely dominant, if you will. I put out a piece today on Adam Erne and his impact on the power play. He's done good things. He's scored two power play goals in one period against Carolina, in fact. And it's just been a lot of fun to see them click and getting some things done on special teams. So, Kyle, we will start with you this time. Your impressions on Adam Erne, on the power play in general. What has changed to all of a sudden have the team experience this type of success on special teams?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just having that confidence. Once they got that first one on the power play and just gave them that confidence to keep shooting. And you're seeing the Wings shoot the puck a lot more on net. You're seeing them try to create more opportunities. And it's just something that happens when you're feeling it in a game and you're able to make that creativity in the zone.
Absolutely. Devin, some takeaways from what we've seen on special teams lately.
So to echo Kyle's point there, yeah, they are a much more confident bunch, and it's clearly observable. I think that they're moving the puck around a lot more confidently, for lack of better words, and they're moving it with purpose, and that leads to the kind of opportunities that have led to this success. Obviously they're doing well now, and I think that they could very well end up doing better. Dennis Cholowski was just called up today, and I think that he's definitely going to get a look on that power play, and I'm kind of excited to see what he brings to that group. You mentioned Erne, read your article, fantastic. If you haven't read it, you should. Very good. He's playing exactly. He is. If I was Jeff Blashill, I wouldn't have thought let's plug Adam Erne in there, but God bless him, he's playing out of his mind right now. He's fitting really well in that bumper spot, and you gotta love it because going back to a piece that Ian wrote back in I think before the season started, right?
Yeah.
Expectations for him were minimal to almost nothing. So for him to be kind of the talk of the town this week, good on him.
Yeah, and I called out in the article he's averaging about 12 and a half minutes time on ice per game, by far the lowest of any regular on the team, and what he's been able to do with that. In fact, Kyle, you and I kind of talked a little bit in the comments section. I think the fact that he's kind of shielded on that fourth line, but has an opportunity to play with skilled players on the power play is really paying off, and it's paid off for the whole team. Ian, your thoughts on the power play, on Erne, on anything of the sort? What's been the difference?
I mean, I certainly didn't have Erne scoring 2 power play goals against Carolina. I'm putting my hand down. I didn't predict that. But like Devin alluded to, before the season, I think I said, if he scored 1 more goal, 1 more assist, if he just has 1 more, I'd call that a success, because so far the Adam Erne experience has been pretty dismal. And it's nice to see him finally kind of do what we expected him to do a little bit, maybe not on the power play, but at least have some offensive production. And I know when Yzerman made that trade before last season, I believe it was, when he was at a 4th round pick for Adam Erne, and it was more one of those kind of low risk, high reward type deals. And that's probably been the worst case so far. I think if you do that trade again, Erne probably has a little bit more success with Detroit, but it just is what it is. And luckily, it's better late than never when it comes to Adam Erne scoring points, scoring goals, especially on the power play.
Well, obviously, Yzerman has seen something in Erne that he likes, that impresses him, that he wants to get out of him, because drafted very high, 33rd overall, high second rounder. Then to bring him here after drafting him, and obviously Yzerman sees something in this kid that maybe he's starting to come around. Maybe getting him around the right type of skilled players. Sometimes that's all it takes, a role player, is get the right set of skills around him and make it happen. I would say maybe just hold off on the fighting. Didn't seem to excel in that, so maybe hold off on the fighting. But that's just my thought.
I was going to say the other thing with Erne too is that obviously Tampa Bay and Detroit are at completely opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of competing and competitiveness every night. And so it was kind of fair to assume that Erne wasn't going to be totally like his Tampa Bay self. But I think we all expected a little bit more out of him, and now it's starting to come along. Like, it's slow, but it's surely coming in regards to Adam Erne.
Agreed. Devin, any final thoughts on Erne or Cholowski? Anything you're looking to see in the upcoming few games?
More of the same.
More of the same. I like it. Kyle, you'll wrap up this topic. Anything else to say about special teams?
Well, to get back to the point of Erne on special teams, do you happen to know how much time on ice he had on the power play in that 2-goal game?
I do not.
Six minutes and 47 seconds of power play ice time.
Wow.
So just being able to get him out there with a little extra space, and let him just kind of have that time to create, I think, and get that confidence up for him. You mentioned that in those comment sections of giving him that extra power play time, even though he's buried on the fourth line right now. I think that's going to be huge for him moving forward.
And if I'm not mistaken, Blashill was rolling with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen that game, was he not? God, it's like somebody asked for that to happen. Only I knew who. Anyways, well, we would certainly like to thank everybody for taking time out of your day to watch. If you haven't already, take the opportunity, subscribe to the Hockey Writers YouTube channel. If you've got a question, post it in the comments. We pride ourselves in the content that we deliver, both in print and video form. And a little like goes a long way. So make sure you check out our what would we say, sister shows: Blackhawks Banter, Sabres Scoop, Flames Face Off, Maple Leafs Lounge. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone or not, but they're great shows. Make sure you check them out. And then don't forget the OG show, Hockey Writers Live. They touch on everything important in the world of hockey, and sometimes even have some of the biggest names in the game on their show. So regardless, certainly appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend it with us. And we enjoy being part of your Red Wings hockey experience. So another person who enjoys being part of our Red Wings hockey experience, I would think, would be Dylan Larkin. And we certainly enjoy him being part of our Red Wings experience. And he is playing like a man possessed right now. I mean, when he handles the puck, I feel like I felt back in the days when Datsuk had the puck, or when Fedorov had the puck. You just felt like he was going to keep the puck. He wasn't going to turn it over. He was going to make something happen. And holy cow, is he making something happen. That play that they set up when he set up Fabry for that goal, where he skated coast to coast and basically just dropped it back and Fabry buried it, is one of my favorite plays that I've seen the Red Wings complete and execute in a very long time. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. And it's all starts with Larkin. What he's been doing as captain, I think, is incredibly important. So, Ian, starting with you, what does Dylan Larkin mean to this team, and how is he finding that next level to go to?
Well, I mean, he's got to be the MVP of the team, right? Like, I think without a doubt, like he's definitely the most valuable player.
You could probably throw Bernier, perhaps.
I was gonna say, like, I would listen to a Jonathan Bernier argument. I don't know that he gets over Larkin, but I would definitely listen to Bernier arguments. I think Larkin's just motivated with how this team has performed. Like, hockey, I shouldn't just specify just hockey, but athletes in general are highly competitive. Like, the athletes want to win. No matter, like, no one wants to tank except for, management and ownership, maybe.
Yeah, true.
But like, I'm sure this dude is tired of losing, of getting disrespected, whether it's by people online or maybe within media. And I think that's probably what's motivating Dylan Larkin, is the haters. It's just him wanting to show the world that he can be one of the best hockey players, not just on the Red Wings, but in the league, and trying to prove people wrong. And he's kind of on that mission. It seems like he's on a mission every night to make people, remind people about how good he is.
Shout out to the haters.
Yeah, shout out to anybody who disrespects Dylan Larkin.
Devin, what has been the difference in Larkin's game? Is it the C? Is he at a level that we've just never fully appreciated? What's been different?
So, here's the thing about Larkin, and to kind of touch on what Ian was just saying, I think that there's a very good case to be made that Larkin is one of, if not the most underrated player in this league. We used to talk about Alexander Barkov over in Florida and Nicholas Backstrom in Washington about that title. And to the same extent, now we got to talk about Larkin like that. People know who Larkin is. They know that he's like the good player on the Red Wings, but I don't think they realize just how good this kid is. He has that ability, and he's had that ability pretty much since he broke into the league to make the guys around him better. And you see that this season, whether he's playing with Bertuzzi or Zadina or Fabry or Mantha, whoever he's playing with looks better when they're playing with Larkin. And I think that's a sure sign of a very good player. And I think that's part of the reason why he wears the C. And I think the biggest testament to what Larkin has brought to this team, I want to say it was last night. They asked Coach Blashill what happened to the Red Wings to make them competitive all of a sudden. And he said, Dylan Larkin got healthy. That says all you need to know. Larkin is the straw that stirs the drink here in Detroit. And to Ian's point, he's the most valuable player. If I think the Red Wings can survive without Bernier as long as Greiss is pulling his weight, right? But an extended period of time without Larkin, this team looks ugly.
Dylan Larkin got healthy. Mic drop right there. Pretty much just what Blashill did. So, Kyle, what have you seen out of Larkin this year, really the last couple of weeks, that has impressed you, and what does he mean to this team?
Yeah, so I just think his comfort level on the ice is just soaring through the roof right now. So, last couple of years when he wasn't wearing the C and there's that kind of, heaviness in the air, is he going to get it? Is he not going to get it? Like, are they going to bring someone in? And then being named the captain, the first couple games, couple weeks, whatever, takes a bit to just kind of get used to that and have that extra sense of, ownership over the team when you're on the ice and in a game. And I just really see him just kind of filling that role comfortably now and being able to settle in and say, okay, I'm the guy and I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go, like Devin said, I'm going to go make everyone else around me on the ice better. And I'm just going to push everyone. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what the C means. And I'm going to start pushing guys until we kick it up to the next level. And I just think that's really kind of started to stand out over the last couple games. And I'd like to see that continue.
Well, I would say, it's big shoes to fill and almost a dangerous comparison. But doesn't it almost feel like what we saw, or what the Red Wings saw with Yzerman when he was young and he came in, and the circumstances were a little bit different, but yet you look at some of the parallels and they're strikingly similar in the struggles that they're going through. So it almost feels like, and I mean no disrespect, Dylan, it almost feels like he's Yzerman's protege in a lot of different ways. And again, I mean that in the most complimentary way possible, because it's been really cool to see. So we'll stay on topic a little bit here as we're talking about Larkin, because Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet made some interesting yet not that outlandish remarks the other day, where he indicated, and I'm going to quote here, quote, "Detroit's going to be interesting too. To date, we focused on the pending free agents, Sam Gagner, Luke Glendening, Bobby Ryan, Mark Stahl. Not that GM Steve Yzerman reveals much, but he's going to consider almost anything. I don't think Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, or Moritz Seider are going anywhere. But other than them, I think there's interest in Jonathan Bernier. He's battled hard, etc." End quote. So there's a little soundbite from Elliot Friedman's 31
Thoughts.
31 thoughts. Thank you. And again, nothing terribly jarring, because we've talked about it similarly. I think we may have put a few other players in the off limits section, but younger prospects, not really anybody on the team. Ian, your thoughts on what Elliott had to say? Is he right on the money? Is there anybody he's missing that you would protect?
I had to remind you, it's 31 Thoughts, Pat. There's Canadian content here that we have to adhere to. But I think he's pretty well on the money. I mentioned, I think was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I mentioned Troy Stecher as kind of an untouchable. I don't know if he's untouchable. It is the right move, but I like Stecher just because of his age in the contract, and it's very tough to find another player like him. So it's a lot of that sort of stuff I find. It's just, guys who aren't untouchable, but again, the right offer has to come along. And I threw out, I think it was this week, potential teams who would be interested in Jonathan Bernier. Like I said, teams whose save percentage was bad at 5-on-5 even strength. And I said Philadelphia, and they had a brutal loss this week to the New York Rangers.
After 2 periods, it was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. So like Philadelphia, I could see making a run for Bernier. St. Louis, I know they just gave the Binnington extension, but St. Louis kind of makes sense. You have to remember, none of these guys are really on egregious deals. Like they're fair, but I mean, like Bernier's making $3 million a year. It's not egregious. I think it's a fair price for someone of his quality, and kind of the same with Thomas Greiss, who I think is $4 million. His salary is $4 million this year, and it's the free agent thing of you have to spend a little bit extra if you want to get your guy. And I don't think Elliott's too far off in any of that talk or any of that discussion. I think that's happening as we speak right now. That it's Larkin, Sider, Raymond, and then anybody else go for it.
Devin, is Elliott wrong, or is that a nice cold take?
So when I reported on this in our news and rumors for the week, I made a point in the comment section to clarify that just because Yzerman is taking calls and is listening to offers on guys doesn't mean that he's going to move them. I think that if he's not taking calls on Anthony Mantha, he's not doing his job. If he's not taking calls on Troy Stecher, he's not doing his job. Now, if he's moving them for pennies on the dollar, then he's doing his job in a bad way. This team is still very much in the build-up phase of this rebuild. And so while you're still collecting your foundational pieces, anyone else can be had for the right price. And the key is just finding that price. So I think Elliott is right, but I also don't think that it's that outlandish of a thing to say. Like it's newsworthy, and that's why I reported on it, but it's also not like something crazy that comes out of left field. I don't see, Pat, I know you and I agree on this. I don't see a guy like Bertuzzi moving just because of the injury situation. But if he was healthy, I'm sure Yzerman would be taking calls on him. And that goes for anyone. I think we talked about this last week or the week before. I don't remember which week. There are some names that we can expect to be gone. The Ryans, the Gagnes, so on and so forth. But I think what Elliott's just saying there is that you shouldn't be surprised if Yzerman kind of pulls a fast one on us.
Sure. And, for those of you who may not have seen it yet, Devin and I had a little fireside chat in this past week's edition of the Grind Line, and the print edition, I should say. And we touched on this before Friedman even announced that. So you may want to, if you want some more perspective, check that out. Kyle, your thoughts on Elliott Friedman's thoughts, right, wrong, indifferent?
Yeah, so I think Devin really hit it on the head there with just Yzerman needing to be able to take these calls and see what's out there right now. I mean, there are a ton of teams that are looking to make a push that could use a right-hand shot D on their second or third pairing, and Stecher would be a great pickup for them. And, you could get a lot of return out of something like that. One thing we do have to keep in mind, though, is Yzerman's done this in the past. He did it down he did it down in Tampa Bay with the Lightning. He made a few deals that at the time down there kind of seemed, out of left field to them. And at the time, but now looking back, Drew in for Sergachev is one that really comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, so if we could get something like that, 2, 3, 4 years down, the road, it's really looking to play in our favor. We got to trust Yzerman.
I mean, you're absolutely right. Again, the old cliche, trust the Yzer plan. People thought he was crazy when he shipped Bishop out.
Yeah.
I mean,
and look who
he's
now.
Exactly. He's done it time and time again, and I am thrilled that he is at the helm of the Red Wings, to be honest.
Yeah.
Total tangent, little known fact, I didn't realize this anyway. Apparently Yzerman was very close to becoming the Minnesota Wild GM. And he ultimately turned that down before going to Tampa Bay, which I never knew. So little interesting trivia there, but go ahead, Devin.
He definitely picked the better weather for that one. Good.
Well, it depends though. If you're playing hockey,
true, but
but come out of the rink into a 70-degree day.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on Yzerman and just trading guys just for a second. Trading, like, there are some guys who, like the Bryans of the world and Gagnes, they're probably going to get moved. If you start touching and start moving the Mantas and the Bertuzzis, to me anyways, it feels like a little desperate, like a little unsure of the rebuild, and then you have to start over again. Now, I'd have to see what the return looks like, because maybe the return is just too good to pass up. But there is a part of me that's a little, like, don't really want to trade Mantha Bertuzzi just yet, just because I don't think we've seen the peak of either of those guys. I feel like there's still more for them to give. And the same with Larkin too. Like, I wouldn't want to trade Larkin because I think there's still a lot more Dylan Larkin can give to this team. Like, I don't think we've hit peak Dylan Larkin. So that's just kind of why I wouldn't be so for trading away like the Mantas and Bertuzzis yet. And the Stetchers, I guess, too.
With Bertuzzi's health, like Devin touched on as well, coupled with his RFA status at the end of the year, I just don't see that. I mean, he's not untouchable, but unless someone comes in and offers a first rounder, which they're not going to do, I don't see Bert leaving town. Devin, tossing it to you.
Two things real quick, just on those two, because those are kind of the big ones here. Bertuzzi, if he was healthy, I'm a GM of a playoff destined team, I'd be all over Bertuzzi. He plays a game that is fit for the playoffs. I want so badly to see him in a NHL playoff atmosphere, because he's a hockey player through and through, and he would be worth the first round pick or whatever a team would throw out there for him. But this just isn't going to be the year for that. And then in regards to Mantha, the idea that I keep coming back to when it comes to potentially trading Mantha is the Thomas Tatar trade from a few years back. And I kind of use that as the template for when I worked out my little mock Mantha trade with our dear Melissa here. Mm-hmm. Tatar had just been signed to, I think it was literally a 4-year deal that off season. He had a little bit of a underperforming season up until the trade deadline, and then out of nowhere, Vegas hit Detroit with a first, a second, and a third round pick. Yeah. And I didn't want to see Tatar traded, but then I saw that return, and I was like, "All right, see you later."
That's just it. I don't think you're getting that return. Like, I don't think Vegas is just handing out draft picks again willy nilly like they were before. Like, and unless something like that happens, and keep in mind too, you're almost. With the Canadian teams, you're almost limiting yourself to 2/3 of the actual league you can trade within, because Canada with the quarantine rules is essentially a no-go. So I don't see it happening. I kind of would like to see a little bit more out of them, especially in a more normal season, if that makes sense. Like, not this, like, now is not totally the time you should be making conclusive decisions on a player, but again, that's just me and how I would scout and look at players. But
So for those who may be curious who Melissa is, by the way, full disclosure, watching the show, you may want to check out Melissa Boyd and what she writes for Montreal and the Hockey Writers. It's fantastic stuff. Devin worked a mock trade with her earlier this year, and it's a great read. So make sure you jump on over to the Canadians page on the Hockey Writers and check out Melissa Boyd. Kyle, I want to wrap this discussion with you, and any final thoughts based on what Devin and Ian just said.
No, I mean, they both covered it very well. Like, it's really going to depend on what type of return we can get. And, without a healthy Bertuzzi, without a healthy Bernier, are we going to get those, that big return there? So that's really what it's going to come down to. Who's willing to offer? What are they willing to offer? And, is it worth it in the long run?
Awesome. I love it. So, well, we are going to be wrapping our show, but we do have just one more topic to discuss because the Hockey Writers grind line right here is entering what we know as a bell tire power play. So we would be remiss here, a little bonus grind line, if we didn't at least share a few thoughts about our good friend here, Ian McNaughton, who helped launch our show. He's OG Grindline. He's been here much longer than I have, and we kind of got in on this show together, and he helped launch our show. He's been here every week. Ian is one of the smartest, happiest guys that I've ever met, and really gonna miss you, buddy. One of my favorite memories with you on this show, in fact, and I actually blew it earlier this show because Richie Sexton and you just completely lost it, and that was fantastic. And it has been my goal ever since to try to get you into a laughing fit each and every week. Some weeks work better than none. You even got me with COVID and Discover, was it? What was it? But
yep.
But you made sure to turn the tables on me. But I just want to say thanks. For everything that you've brought to the Hockey Writers, for helping us get this show off the ground. And certainly personally and professionally want to wish you the best of luck. I hope you continue to watch this show. I'm sure we will have plenty of Ian McNaughton, Ian Stradamus references. Octopus Thrower seems to have taken a liking as well. So just really appreciate what you've done. And Devin, I want to toss it over to you to put you on the spot. Any favorite Ian stories or memories as we send him off into the sunset?
So I just want to make sure that Ian knows that there's always going to be an empty seat reserved on this show for you. My personal favorite thing about Ian, besides his sense of humor and his ability to write some fun stories. You've written some fun stories since you've been with the Hockey Writers. Is your ability to host. I know that sounds silly, but this show really thrives when the host is doing a good job, and I can say that because I suck at hosting. Our first instance with the Blackhawks crew, when we watched that game live, it really kind of kept the show moving and kept us talking. And then again, when we had Brooke and Nimrit on the second time, that show could have been an hour and a half long with how much we like to talk, and it was one of our shorter shows. So kudos to you for just being able to keep us on track. And yeah, like I said, there's always a spot on the couch in the show and for you, Ian. So hats off to you. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
And Ian, you obviously have exceptional internet service because we've never had any lag while you've been hosting. So certainly appreciate that as well.
You guys, if possible, I think I'm with TELUS here in Canada. See if you can reach out to TELUS for a partnership deal and see if you can make something work. But no, I want to thank everybody. This is as I said earlier today, it's been a positive experience working here. I really can't say enough about working with you guys. I could go on for an hour and a half, including Kyle. Kyle shared a nice message with me earlier today. I really appreciate that from Kyle. One of my kind of standout memories that I will take away from me. In case you guys don't know, this wasn't, or at least for myself, this wasn't planned. We have an agenda that we do every week that we share with among one another in our Slack chat. This was not mentioned. This was not brought up to me whatsoever. So this is brand new.
Gotcha.
But last week was my opportunity to host. And how long were we too late? Like we were about 15 or 20 minutes just screwing around, talking and chatting. And I think I made some comment about COVID, and Pat said that I had, Canadian ignorance, to which I said, oh yeah, well, let's all go to Arlington, Texas for opening day because everyone's going to Arlington, Texas. And I think we just went off for 5 minutes because we couldn't get ourselves straight after that. We just laughed. It was just downhill from there. And again, apologies to Dean for having to edit last week's episode. I can't thank any of you guys enough. It's been awesome. I'm sure I'll be your future Canadian correspondent, and I'll be able to provide some Canadian content so you meet our regulations up here. And I thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Ian, we're gonna miss you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege, and you haven't heard the last of us, and we'll continue our witty banter and retort on Twitter.
I should say I am subscribed to the Hockey Writers on YouTube. This is just one final plug. If you aren't subscribed to the Hockey Writers on YouTube, you really should, because there is some great content. So there's one final plug from myself to go subscribe to the Hockey Writers on YouTube.
Well done. And with that, the proverbial torch is passed from Ian to Kyle. Kyle, really appreciate you joining and kind of going through training camp here this week, and looking forward to engaging with you every week from here on out. Everybody, that's our show for this week. Really appreciate you taking the time out. Again, subscribe, make sure you check out our stuff. And until next week, let's go Red Wings.